Hey, how's it going? So I I have a kind of a theme today, and it is oh my, that's gonna drive me crazy. Sorry. So the theme was it came in the form of a question that was just sort of in my head for God, like a week, and I knew I needed to write about it because it was just sitting there, and if I start writing, then it tends to unlock whatever is there, so I was just sort of letting it marinate for a few days and just thinking about it, and then earlier I was watching something, and the phrase kept coming up in what I was watching, and it was like, okay, like I knew I was going to do a video too today. It didn't necessarily have to be on what if I'm wrong, which was the question, but what if I'm wrong kept coming up in what I was watching, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do something about it. So I did write some stuff about it, but it is actually different from what I'm going to talk about as far as the question is concerned. But I'm still going to link that piece. They might converge, like whatever I'm going to talk about. And then I also have some cards. So when I was thinking about it, like, what if I'm wrong? The first things that came to mind was kind of making unpopular decisions, sort of like beyond that, even as far as being like thought to be unreasonable or nonsensical, but just like something that makes people go, there's no way, and then that being the thing that you really think is right and the truth. And the thing about the truth is subjective, so I'm just going to say my truth, and possibly a truth that many others could get behind. But when it's something that's like out of the norm and just unusual, it does make you kind of take pause, or I had a moment where I was like, what if I'm wrong? But then after all of the days of thinking about it and just letting it sort of lay there and do whatever it was going to do in my brain, it was like, what if, so then I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. We all get like ideas in our head, and I can't speak for anyone else on this. My personal process is, if I get an idea, then it's going to sit in my mind for a while, and I'm going to look at it from all of the angles, possibly do some research on it, look up some concepts that I may develop on it, or ideas around it, whatever the case may be. But usually in that period of sort of introspection about a subject, things will come to mind and inform my thinking on the subject. And so part of it is like being online and talking to people and discussing what's going on in the world, or more often commenting on what someone else has posted on a subject. And then it could go from that point, things could go a lot of different ways. They could go very much south, or really well, or like nothing, no response, buffering. And then they're all a form of an answer, and it's subjective regardless. So in that sort of arena, you're not just dealing with your own perceptions, and we do just turn everything into a belief or a thing we're sure about. And then when we sort of bounce it off of others, don't always work. Like, we don't always agree. We might think it's nutty or have no substance or whatever it is, but it's a crapshoot, right? So, but what if nobody's wrong? You know? I mean, that's kind of what perception is like, everyone's view is gonna look different. It's kind of like that thing where you're watching a movie and you're sitting right next to somebody that, as far as you know, from their posture, is also looking at and listening to the same thing, and they'll turn to you while it's happening and go, "What just happened?" And for me and a lot of other people, it's like, "Are you kidding me? Shut up and listen, and then you'll know." Like, from my perspective, I'm going to know what the answers to the questions are, should they arise, concerning the movie, as the movie develops and plays out. Like, those things tend to answer themselves, especially if you're in, like, the first few minutes. How is the person that you know also hasn't seen it going to have more insight than you on what has happened or is happening that ostensibly you were both looking at? Sorry, it's a little upsetting because it's like, thank goodness the days of the VCR and the DVR and the streaming came along, because that kind of thing will make you want to hurt someone because they don't shut up. And at least once it was in the home, you can rewind and whatever. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at, and I'm seeing and hearing everything. You somehow are doing the same thing, and none of that is happening. That is a perspective that is like, woo, way over my head. I don't know where you're coming from, honestly. And I have never asked because of I described the situation, like, once it's over, there's no reason to talk about it again. Although, I have to say, when I think of the persons that I have encountered where that's happened, none of them are people that you want to go back and say, why in the hell did you do that? Like, weren't you paying attention? Which you would say if the person were, like, normal, but you know they're not already because of what I described. Anyway, I was just trying to give an instance of questioning your own beliefs, kind of, and your own, like, what is the word? I want a word other than belief. Although I guess it's what I'm trying to say, I think, is something that you feel more than it's something that you can be read or said, like a deep inner knowing. And when you have that, like, asking if you're wrong is kind of like insulting the gift of the knowing. So, what if I'm wrong? I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways to look at that. Like, why did I even start asking that? What made me question it? Well, personally, people questioning me will get me questioning, going, well, wait, is that true? And then I'll question it. But that's not the same as, like, losing faith in my contention. But I will consider it, because you can always be wrong about something, even if it's that deeply held inner knowing. You could be wrong about it. Although the things that make you wrong might not actually be a reflection of you and your perception. Things change, or things change because people change. change their minds, or their situations start changing. And then, I mean, you kind of have to roll with things like that. When life starts doing spontaneous stuff to you, rigidity is not the best move. Like, you kind of really have to go with the flow. You're kind of forced to. And when you fight it, put up that resistance, then you run into problems of various types. So I don't know what all of that rambling really has to do with what if I'm wrong, but it's just... Oh, and well, that was the other thing. Do people ask themselves that, I wonder? Because it seems like they don't really have those moments of sort of small personal crisis where you're like, is my integrity holding up? I think my collarbone... I don't think saying something and working my jaw has ever tweaked my collarbone before, but first time for everything. So what was I saying? Now, of course, I'm going to forget. The questioning yourself. Like, I can't imagine not doing it. I can't imagine not... I mean, I question myself before anyone else does, for sure, because I know what I'm thinking first. I'm the first one to get a look at it. But I think that, like, if you're, like, super confident and you don't question yourself, great, you feel that way, but, like, I don't feel safe with that. And I know, like, that is another form of resistance that I'm putting up in front of myself, because I should just go with the flow. Like, that is what we're meant to do. We're not really meant to question anything that's happening. We're just supposed to be letting it happen and trusting that things are going to go the way they're supposed to go, because regardless of questioning or not, that is what is going to happen. And any eventualities that come up that might alter that course of events, there are contingencies and plans B, C, D, and E, I imagine. I mean, this is not the first rodeo for these forces that are at work here. It's kind of like in my current position, am like questioning everything. So, okay. I have some cards from my Starseed Oracle deck, and let's see what we got first here. First one is Portal. And it says, doors are opening. You decide. Rewards. Wild card. I mean, here you are presented with a number of opportunities. Like, this is all of this in one portal? Sounds like more than one is happening. In fact, if you look at this illustration, it's kind of foggy, but it does seem like there might be multiple doorways happening inside this archway when she steps over the threshold. I should mention that we've been in collectively a kind of threshold moment, and I think we will continue to be somewhat during this sort of Christmas holiday season, where everybody's sort of more people on holiday or on vacation, as we say here in the U.S. But even if you're working, the attitudes are loosened. Like, everyone is aware that it's holiday season, and everyone has a way of feeling through this season. Like, some people are thrilled for it to happen, and I'm one of the ones that don't mind it at all. Like, regardless of whatever the holiday's doing, because of the holidays, the way that it is, like a silent night season or a geared down season, It is one of the easier, if more boring, times, and so it's like nighttime, which is the time when I like to write and do my recordings and things, because people are asleep and their energy is low, and I'm not so affected by it. So, okay, moving on. Let's see what else to say. So, doors are opening, you decide. Rewards, wild card. Okay, well, that just sounds like, I mean, it's not crazy. It sounds like a crapshoot, not unlike, what we're already used to dealing with, although currently what we're used to dealing with is the most constant thing is things changing. Like, don't get too attached to anyone or anything right now. I've been seeing that reflected in my life for sure. You just go with it. So, next card is Star Ancestors. I'll give you a look at the illustration. So the pyramids, we still don't have the best handle on what's going on there. But from various sources, I'm learning things. A lot of us are learning things. Like, in the recent past, a scientist, researcher learned how to operate cymatics in a chamber and cured his back problem, and didn't even know he was going to do that. Like, it was just a complete accident. But he must have had some sort of subconscious sense, because he had all of the things that he needed to do it. He was probably looking for to achieve some other experiment or something. I know he was in there to do an experiment, not to heal his back. It was just a happy accident, and a gift for everyone to learn, like, oh, so that's what that's for. After all of the time, you know how many thousands of years, I guess millions even, that those have been there? But they I guess, are like navigation. They are among many pyramids on the planet, and each pyramid represents a certain human aspect. I don't remember what they are right now. I'm sorry. I don't have that memorized. And then we learn things about how they're built and who built them, and it's all confusing and confused because barely any of it is right. Barely anything that we so-called discovered. A lot of it is like conjecture and assumptions on the part of the people that discovered this stuff, and then that's affected by like the times that you happen to be in, and the thinking, and the morals, like the ideas that get formed at different times in different situations. I'm sure when visited, the same places visited, completely different perspectives have been come away with. Oh, those perspectives, they're everywhere. Okay, so the Star Ancestors card reads, here, let me get some better light on this thing. Reads, come on. It says, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. They're holding back a lot of information, like for the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramid in Egypt. They are holding back a lot of information, and that could be for a lot of reasons. Many of them would be reasons that I dreamed up. I'm just not sure why. But I think a main one is just to keep information from people because they're afraid it's going to scare us somehow. So that just makes my curiosity be aflame. Like, I want to know more. Like, you know, as a matter of fact, there's another area where information is being withheld and people are not wanting to have it. Like, we don't want to take it. It's kind of a general thing where we're tired of not knowing, and especially if the information can be had and can be known. It's like, don't treat us like children. We can probably handle it. And you know what? Even if it freaks us out, we have been through a lot. We can get over it. I don't know, like, why people are perceived as such fragile beings, but listen to somebody's life. Let them tell you about their life, and you can see that, like, just about everyone has been through some kind of serious stuff. Like, we're not, gonna fold like wet tissue over everything. It's kind of insulting. Anyway, so these, I know for sure, their location where they're set are a definite as above, so below demonstration, because what they reflect above them is a constellation. I don't remember which one, and I don't want to guess. So, but that's something that you can look up. There is a constellation that matches the earthly placement of these pyramids on the Giza Plateau in Egypt. And I think that's less of a navigational tool, which, by the way, that only works as a navigational tool if you're way up in the sky. We have the idea that we were always primitive around these things. But back around the time of their construction, we're thought to have been little more than cavemen, in my opinion. So the reason why I bring that up is because we don't really know what was going on there. Like, what I've been learning lately is that maybe they were not. We may be more primitive than them in many ways, but they also had assistance of ETs openly walking among them and sharing ideas and company and help with various things. Like, there's resources here that visitors are in need of. Like, one of them famously is gold. So there may be a resonance there that we can experience it and know on a level that's not a typical one that we sort of relate in, and I mean a resonance. Because we can often go a place and feel things from it, and we tend to think it's something coming from us, but I don't know how many of us, maybe like these days people are aware of this, but I've gone lots of places and felt all kinds of ways, and it was many years before I realized, maybe it wasn't indigestion, maybe the resonance of the place was affecting me. And so that's where our star ancestors are, whether we're saying actual, like, blood relatives or sort of extended family. They were here with us, at least as, like, older siblings, let's say. So, okay, can I have... These are new, so they're really clingy with each other. You're still going to be together. Good Lord, let go. Thank you. Okay, so the next card is Star Brothers. And so I took a look at this earlier. There is a person here in contemplation. I'm gonna say they're meditating. I'm not sure, like, what's up with this person. Whether what looks like a ship behind them is theirs, or they're being visited by whoever drives that ship and, travels in it. But they do seem to be in like a trance state, because it doesn't look like their eyes are open. Their features are focused downwards, like into their hands, as if they're meditating, or in a meditation so deep that it nears trance state. So this one reads, Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, trust. Okay, hold on. I'm going to be right back. Okay, I wanted to look up what Horus energy is. So Horus is an Egyptian figure, the Eye of Horus, which is a symbol like everyone probably associates with Egypt, that actually represents the pineal gland. And so here's what it says about Horus. Like, I couldn't remember, is he a god or what? Nope. Apparently there's an energy company called Horus Energy. I think it's renewable energy, so I think it's solar, because I accidentally made the ad come up. But anyway, you don't care about that. Horus is known for his foresight, psychic awareness, and his ability to travel between worlds. Underworld, heaven, and earth. So he's like Osiris, I think? Well, maybe they existed at the same time. I don't know, I'm not like great on my Egyptian, not mythology, but history. I'll go with that. Okay. He is referred to as the cosmic gateway, as he can help us to travel with our mind through meditation and prayer and harness the universal energy that surrounds us. So there's a ship behind him, and maybe that's like a metaphor for the psychic travel that he's doing there. It says here, what does the Horus energy mean? So let's see. The Eye of Horus meaning is deeply rooted in spiritualism. It is a powerful protection charm used for that's the Eye of Horus that I was talking about, used for banishing evil spirits and warding off negative energies. It shields against misfortune and toxic energy that is sent our way, allowing prosperity and blissfulness to come in and override darkness. Okay. So, sort of like a shining light, the Horus themselves, and well, they have the ability to banish evil spirits, so I guess that's helpful when you're traveling in the underworld. And so when we are talking about the underworld and Egypt, I think we're talking a lot of metaphor there, because, well, for one thing, they knew that when we die, that's not the end of everything. That is just a transformation. Let's see here. Let's see what else. So, protection, we found that out already. Loyalty. Okay. That is a good, solid trust position to hold. Safety, and also says trust on here. There's not much about sort of doubt and what I started out with, the whole what if I'm wrong thing. I don't get a lot of connection with any of that to that Horus. So let's move on. Inner Earth is the next card. You'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. Inner Earth, and you'll survive this. I do have a lot of thought from time to time about, like, the Inner Earth sounds like a good place to have available for when the topside weather is not in our best interest as people. Like, it's getting real hot and it's gonna get hotter, and I mean, I know the place where I'm at is not sufficient to the, if it gets, like, it got to be like 110 one year, and that was bad. I mean, I'm from LA, so I could kind of deal with it. I don't live there anymore because I don't like that kind of weather. But my poor kitty, I don't think this was the one I had at the time, but he was not doing well, and like, there was nothing I could do. I don't have a basement or a cellar. I don't have access to any place cooler. I don't currently possess a vehicle, so I couldn't take him anywhere else, and it was oppressive in every way. And I couldn't help but think that a cave would be a good place to be, like, out of the sun, away, insulated from all that heat coming down. And I know also, just from years of watching, like, Discovery Channel type things about underground chambers that have been rediscovered, because clearly they were built. Like, there's ones in China that are massive and large enough to hold thousands of people, and they're not just one space, they're like a whole network of spaces, huge areas. So you would almost think that people had to go running underground before, like in the past. So if there's some there, it's likely that it wasn't an isolated weather situation. It's very likely that people took refuge underground all over the world. And so I know that there are tunnels here in the United States, in the contiguous 48. I know that I've learned various things about them. Like, I know that not that far in the past, Elon Musk was trying to get work up, like, tunnels being built for a certain kind of transportation that sounded very limited, and then I think it didn't really go anywhere. However, what we're told is not always the truth, or the truth in its entirety. So whatever was happening with that may have been something else other than what they actually said, and it may still be going on. Like, it maybe never stopped doing whatever it was doing. I do know that world leaders are aware of the upcoming need for great numbers of their people to get the hell out of the sun. So things that we don't see are definitely taking place. And I can't believe that things like that are not among some of them. And I know it's hard to believe if you're in the United States, where everything right now seems like such a mess. And we know, because we're here and we know what our world looks like around us, there could be plenty for everyone, but the distribution and, the restrictions on distribution have made it so that all of the abundance that is available is not accessible to everyone. And we're not even really made aware. Like, you kind of have to be interested and curious and paying attention and looking for things, or to have the perspective to see them in a way where is, rather than being a glass half empty situation, even though it may look that way, what is really going on behind the scenes right in front of your face may be something completely else, something completely different. And that is a situation that, like, I know that it's true. I've seen it. We've all seen it. We've all learned, like, things that we didn't know about were going on by that the government was doing. Like, we find out later that, you know, that they were doing things. They may have denied that they were doing them, but most likely they just didn't say. That's not unique to our government. So, I'm not a fan, but anyway, that is what I think of often when I think of Inner Earth. And then also the mystical Inner Earth, like at Mount Shasta and other places where there's something going on underground, and only certain people can sort of walk in and out of there. Like, period. Like, maybe they go in and they're never heard from again. Or they go there and they try to go in and they get run off and they never go back again. Like, there's stuff going on in places, and it's protected and guarded by various forces and people of all types. So, okay. This card reads, "You'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings." Well, I'd say so. I'd say that we're definitely in for those, because what looks like a mess and chaos right now, and just things falling apart, and I mean, you can look at that in a number of ways. You can look at it as if it's like the end times and something to be very defeatist about. But the thing is, it's like, how many times have we felt that way about things and then been mistaken about it being what type of ending we were looking at? All kinds of things, and immediately a new cycle of something begins, because that's just the way our world works. It's kind of comforting to know that these places exist. I'd like to know more about them. I'd like to visit them, but I might not have to wait to experience that, and that would also include you. So the final card that I have is karmic relationships. It's funny to me that they are so far apart, and they're on two different worlds. So the card reads, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. So karmic relationships, I first learned about them in terms of twin flame stuff, and that is such a very textured subject. There's a lot to it, and it's complex, but there is a pop culture level to it where a lot of it is just wrong. But that was where I first encountered the term karmic. So in that framework, karmic relationships represent, okay, so the twin flames on a lot of these sort of YouTube channels or Instagram, a lot of places, I'm sure TikTok, I'm not on there, but I'm sure some exist there. So what they do is the people that run them are like card readers and or psychics, and they either give personal readings or do general readings on the energies of like zodiac signs of people that feel they're in a twin flame situation, which on a lot of these, it's very sort of regular old relationship level discussion, but what it really is not about that. I mean, that happens to people that are twin flames, but a twin flame doesn't necessarily mean that you have a romantic partner. You are the twin flame because the twin in question is inside of each of us. So that is the twin. That is the wrong thing that people get a lot. But, okay, so I don't want to say like those are just wrong information completely, because I don't think that's right either. But I also think that in a lot of ways, they're instructive for people like myself who just usually is not in a relationship. I still am interested in that interaction and that interplay. So back to the karmic in that sort of framework. The karmic refers to a person or situation that comes along. Generally, we're talking about a person in what I'm talking about right now. And that person is like a third party in a pre-existing relationship. And they generally come along to test the relationship, to test one or both of the partner. Well, it's going to test both of the partners, but it's going to be one or other partner that's affected in these situations usually. And so they can come along during a separation, or they can come along when you're together and create a separation, and it can, do what those things do. Like, it could spur a whole other relationship and family, and really, like, cause the original relationship, which is the twin flame in question here, just send them completely flying apart. But the thing about the twin flame, just like as if it's in you, we all have a divine masculine and a divine feminine inside of us. If you don't know what I mean by that, it's easy to look them up and get a ton of information. So I'm not going to explain it, but we each have that aspect inside of us. And really, if we have those two whole, like joined together, creating that flame of the twins together, we really don't need the exterior relationship. Like, we're whole already. Why we do it after that, have the romantic relationship, is more learning, adding more depth to the situation. So, anyway, everybody gets to learn something. The karmic either, like, comes in and, like, wins and takes away the partner, and, maybe they get the whole family and thing that they dreamed of with this person that was already involved with someone. And if they're that person's twin, then it's possible that over lifetimes they've had relationships together. Not necessarily romantic, though, because that's the thing about the twins, is you might be the person's mother one time, or the other person might be your boss and you're not related at all. Or you could be your twin's grandparent, or they could be yours. Or you could be in heaven or whatever, like not incarnate. Or you could be incarnate on a completely other planet while your twin's here incarnate. Like, the variations are, you can't count them. And so that's what it is talking about, like particularly the polarity, because it will bring to bring in front of us things that will divide us and put us so far apart that it's like we're on other planets and we can't even relate anymore. And so the Orion energy, this is interesting. From listening to my ETs, our species, or there was a big war, and because if we're incarnate here, we're seeing ourselves as, we're relating ourselves with here and this life. But before we're born and when we pass, and we're not in these bodies living these lives anymore, we're other people and things. And so on that's what they're talking about, and that is the we that they're referring to. So we're in a war with the Orion constellation, planet, species. And I guess Star Wars is a lot of sort of what that was about. Like, that's not what it says it is. You have to wait. But, and I'm sure it's not exactly that, but it's sort of like a channeling that George Lucas got, that was what it was based on. And so, enemy energy from another world. And the polarity thing, well, you get that. It's like you're in a thing, you're deeply in love, you think it's all good, and then boom, along comes karmic all of a sudden that changes everything and changes that love alignment to, I don't think I like you so much anymore. I need to have space from you, like literal lots of space. And then you have to wait. I know you saw me start doing this. Soul growth. That's what you get from the karmic relationships. Like, it's not really about having the romantic happy ending. It's about the experience. All of the experiences that can happen in and to the romantic relationship, which in these incarnate forms is a big deal. Like, we really care about it a lot. It's what so much of business is based on. It's what so much of our thoughts are based on. So, okay, and then the last thing it says is conflict. Well, I don't think I need to double and triple down on what I already said about all of that. So, I mean, all of these things, like, take the inner earth part of this. A lot of people think that's a fairy tale. Like, even just the most practical, pragmatic idea of being underground for safety and survival is not something that people can take seriously. So not all people can take it seriously. So then it falls into the realm of, like, fantasy and fairy tale. But what if they're wrong? You know, and the twin flame thing, like, what if, I can't believe you, like, are involved with thinking about it for too long without finding out that there's more to it than it just being, like, the romantic idea of two lives appearing over and over to relive love over and again. It's like, I think, like, once you do it a time or two, you got it, and then you move on to the karmic stuff, or I don't know how the sequence happens. What if I'm wrong? Well, the karmic stuff, that we can kind of take to the bank. We know that affairs happen, and Jolene's happen, and all of a sudden our attention is like, oh, all of a sudden I'm interested more in this other person that is not in my relationship that I'm currently in, and that could be a little bit of a problem. Okay, so the Star Brothers. This is stuff that we have learned about and called mythology. And I don't think that we've really understood the fact that so many stories repeat all over the world, and so many of the names we know, and we don't think that was real. And it's like, it's so funny. Like, why would we have these centuries-long mythologies if there was no reality to them? Like, why would we keep it around? Come on. We just have to go a little deeper. Look a little deeper, it says on this card. Because, like everything, there are layers, Take a romantic relationship, especially when it starts to come into question, like if people want to stay or if people want to give into temptation. There are layers. Like, why would you agree to it? Why would you not be receptive to it? And then what if you have, like, say, the karmic come along, but maybe the karmic is only that at the start, and if you decide to, like, go ahead and leave what you have going on already, like if you have a family, let's say, and then you take off and go be with the karmic, and then it turns out that was the one you were supposed to be with, like that was the original twin flame. You don't, this card says wild card on it, like you just don't know, like it's such a crapshoot, and so many layers of everything, and all of the people involved will have their own layers that you will be affected by, and so so many factors are involved for anything to happen. It's just sort of mind-bending, and you can guess and you can try to know, but really all you can do is sort of reach for the sense and feel what's happening, because that's gonna be your truest detector of reality. Like, that will help you figure out, what if I'm wrong? Oh my God, my cat wants me to do some annoying things, so I gotta go. Thank you and good night.